All right, we made it. We made it through the draft, guys. And what a lot of people don't realize this morning as you wake up, the Chicago Bears 90-man roster is set. It seems like just as effective as the Bears went through their draft board, they had a list of undrafted free agents they wanted, and they signed them all last night, right after the draft. This thing is not dragging out like it does some years. This thing is not going to take forever to fill out. The Bears have got their roster set. So we're going to go through all the picks. We're not going in depth today. We're going to do that over the next week. Normally, I try to get these things to you as fast as possible. I'm worn out from this year. This year has gotten me toast. We went live 13 hours over the draft, and I appreciate every single freaking one of you for being a part of it. Of course, we know the first round pick, 10th overall off the board for the Chicago Bears was Colston Loveland, tight end out of Michigan. We've learned he was very high on the Chicago Bears draft board, as high as possibly number 2, according to rumors. And many teams were trying to trade up to get him. Highest graded tight end prospect since Sam Laporta, and maybe in the last 10 years or so. So a lot of people thought Tyler Warren was that number 1. Sounds like that might not be the case. All right, in the second round, this is what boggles me, is how many people didn't understand how sweet of a pick this was. Luther Burden III was picked at 39th overall. Last year, several places had him as the number 1 overall prospect before last season ended. Not 2024, but 2023. Before that season ended, there was so much hype around Luther Burden III, and the hype is warranted. Not going into press conferences today. We'll do that on the individual videos. But there's a lot to like about this kid. And I can see why the Bears wanted to get him so bad and why he was so high on their board as well. He's going to be a dynamic prospect out of the slot. This wide receiver room just got very crowded. And that's a good thing. Iron sharpening iron, competing. Best man wins. I love the fact that we have so many great players. Now, we had the second round trade. For those who didn't see that, we traded out of 41 and 72 and gave our 7th round pick away to get back 56, 62, and 109. 109 would then again be used to trade down again with the Bills. So we ended up giving away 3 picks for 4, but really that 7th round or 240 isn't really. So it was really 2 for 4 picks. At 56, we picked Ozzie Trapillo, who is an amazing prospect. He could be your day 1 starter at left tackle. We'll end up seeing what happens. When the dust settles here for the Bears. So 62, the Bears picked Shamar Turner, who also at one point was a first-round prospect. So just because we don't understand or see what the Bears board looked like, all 4 of these first 4 picks were phenomenal picks. And what's funny is the Bears traded out of their 3rd round pick. So if Ryan Poles has struggled to have 3rd round picks work out for him, he found a way to overcome that by trading into the 2nd round. So we had 3 2nd round picks. Here's what we were talking about with the Bills trading out of 4109 again. They received 4109 that was originally theirs, and in return we got a late 4th and a late 5th. And so 4-132 and 5-169. And the value doesn't look like it appears to be lopsided one way or the other when you understand that this draft, 4th, 5th, 6th rounders are all in that same range. So the Bills wanted to come up and get their guy. A lot of Bears fans were frustrated at this point, very frustrated, because there were a lot of really good players on the board between this range. And then the Bears went and got Ruben Hippolyte II, linebacker. Now, we're going to get into him later, but very quick and hits hard. The Bears are trying to change the culture in the linebacker and the defensive room. They're trying to mix things up a little bit. The frustrating thing is most places had him as a late 7th undrafted free agent type of prospect. This is one where you hate hearing, trust the process, trust this new staff, trust what they have in store. You just have to understand their big board. I get it, because this one was tough to swallow a little bit. So Ruben Hippolyte, we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. This is one where my draft grade for the entire Bears draft kind of went downhill, but it was what it was. And then we had our own 5th round 148. We then decided to trade out of that again. I actually like this trade because we got back a 4th round pick for next year. We got the Rams 4th round pick. Now we had to dip down in the 6th round, but really if you're getting a 4th round pick next year for a 5th round this year, that is a good trade compensation. Think about last year when we did that to get Austin Booker. We gave away a 4th round pick for a 5th round pick to get Austin Booker. We also got a 6th round pick, number 195. This is where things turn for me. Za Frazier is a great cornerback prospect. He needs to fill out into his frame a little bit more, but he's got good size and good speed and good instincts for the ball. So at 169 overall, we picked Jalen Jones' replacement, is really what this is, because Jalen Jones went to Arizona. Then in the 6th round, Luke Newman could be that offensive line prospect that really develops. One that we really did. It's the same thing with the entire Bears draft. I think a lot of Bears fans were kind of frustrated at the entire situation at hand because most of these weren't prospects we were thinking of. But when you look at Luke Newman, we'll get into him later, he really does stick out as someone that could be a very solid prospect for the Bears. So this is not one that I stress. I actually really like him. And you like the way he talks. You like his mentality and his attitude. I like the initial phone call. Like it a lot. 7th round pick, 233. We finally got our running back. And Kyle Monangai is actually a really solid fit for the Bears. He finds the holes. He hits the holes. He had good vision for the holes. No drops, no fumbles in his college career. That's fantastic. All right. This is what a lot of you are probably looking for, what you hadn't seen yet. Here's your list of undrafted free agents. So from top to right, bottom to right, you've got Major Burns, safety out of LSU, Power Eccles, linebacker, North Carolina, Gio Paez, defensive tackle out of LSU. You can see he's 312 pounds, so he's going to be a nice addition there for the nose tackle room we wanted to see. Cole Nelson, edge out of Virginia Tech, a little bit lighter. You see he's 241 pounds. Xavier Carlton out of California, edge as well. You see he's the bigger Dennis Allen type, 6'6", 273. So there's a vast difference in those two. Tysheem Johnson on the bottom row there, safety out of Oregon. Ja'Day Walker, Texas A&M, wide receiver. Now, I didn't think we'd sign any undrafted free agent wide receivers with our wide receiver room. Our wide receiver room is full this year. We have a full wide receiver room. J.P. Richardson, wide receiver out of TCU. Jonathan Kim, kicker out of Michigan State, one of the highest rated kickers in this draft. And then Luke Elkin, this is one of the more notable ones. I don't think a lot of people have queued this together yet. He was the long snapper for Torrey Taylor. So you've got him under control for 3 years if we decide to keep him. And Scott Dowley might be out of a job. I don't know if this is one of those things where you're really stressed about your long snapper because Luke Elkin's going to be cheaper than Scott Dowley, and he has experience with our punter already. So that's an interesting one that we brought in there. So this is crowded. I know we're going to go through each individual room, though. But this is the entire group. You can count them up. You see there's 90 guys on the Chicago Bears roster. Now, this doesn't mean things can't change. They can cut someone. They can bring someone else in. If something works out and changes, if someone becomes available they want, they can cut someone. This is not set in stone. But this is, as of right now, your 90-man roster. And there are exactly 90 players on the Chicago Bears roster. Your backfield, your quarterbacks, your running backs, you can look at that there. We're not going to go in depth on this, but you can see Kyle Monangai added there in the running back room. Will he start? I don't know. Taking him in the 7th round, but he does fit the scheme perfectly to pair up Sonic and Knuckles with DeAndre Swift and Ian Wheeler. Yeah, maybe he'll rotate with Roshan and on the other side too. This is the offensive line room. Now, this thing is interesting. So these are all lined up exactly where the players play, except Luke Newman could play guard or center. And they mentioned that in the press conference. I lined him up at center because I think Bill Murray does still have some preference in making the top 10. Not over Luke Newman. I just mean period. I think those are your top 10 to make it on the top half. Braxton Jones, Joe Tooney, Drew Dahlman, Jonah Jackson, Darnell Wright, Karan Amagaji, Bill Murray, Luke Newman, Ryan Bates, and Ozzie Trapillo. What happens with Ryan Bates at this point? I have no clue. I think they keep him. But we're going to get through camp, and we're going to see which the wheat separating from the chaff. We're going to see it. So 16 players on the offensive line, and there could be some weeding out. There could be, as they talked about, some people moving from the right side to the left side to the right side. They're going to take this weekend. They're going to kind of organize that list as it is. Braxton Jones won't be ready for the beginning of camp. I would bet Ozzie Trapillo starts at left tackle or at right tackle and Darnell Wright moves over. It's going to be interesting to see what the Chicago Bears decide to do to start camp. Then when Braxton Jones comes back, what they decide to do there. This is going to be an interesting one as far as how it shakes out for camp. Your receivers and tight end, this is what I'm talking about with this thing being deep in the wide receiver room. This is, there's going to be some people cut. Maurice Alexander could make it over Tyler Scott. Maybe they only keep 5 with how stacked our wide receiver room is now with DJ Moore, Luther Burden, Roma Dunze, Lamadai Zacchaeus, Devin Duvernay. Do they even keep a 6th one? Miles Boykin still has a ton of potential, a former 3rd-round pick. I think your tight end room is pretty set. Cole Kmet, Colson Loveland, Durham Smythe. I think it's those 3, but we do have the camp bodies of Steven Carlson, Joel Wilson, and Jordan Murray as well. But that wide receiver room is going to get really interesting really quick. So really, really interesting. Your defensive line room just got a little more interesting too. What are they going to do with that 4th defensive end? I don't know. Is it Jamrick Chroma, Dominique Robinson, Daniel Hardy, one of the undrafted free agents, Cole Nelson, Xavier Carlton? Have no idea what they're going to do for that 4th defensive end. But it appears to be that front 4 on the defensive interior. It's probably pretty set. Grady Jarrett, Jervon Dexter, Andrew Billings, Shamar Turner. Or could Shamar Turner kick out a little bit more and they like Jonathan Ford staying on the team? Chris Williams. There's options here. And I think this is probably going to be one of the most intense battles to see who makes that 8th, 9th defensive line spot on this team. Which 2 guys? Because those first 7 are set. Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett, Jervon Dexter, Dio Odengbo, Austin Booker, Andrew Billings, Shamar Turner. After that, 2 more of these guys are probably going to make the roster. Maybe even, we don't know the final tally of who they have making the final 53, but it should be around 9 of these guys on the defensive line when all is said and done. So that's 16 guys, and we have a more competitive room than before. I think Zach Pickens is really in jeopardy. Really, really in jeopardy, if you ask me. Linebackers, nickelbacks, Kyler Gordon, Josh Blackwell are really our only 2 nickel, but that's all you really need. We've got a really solid starter backup combo punch. Kyler Gordon with his extension. Josh Blackwell, the extension as well this offseason. So I'm happy with where things stand right now. For the linebackers, you would think Ruben Hippolyte would be your 3rd linebacker, but I have no clue how they're going to work this thing out yet. Swayze Bozeman did a nice job with the Chiefs this last year. Noah Sewell was a former 4th-round pick as well. So nothing's set in stone there except Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, I would think. That's just my opinion. We'll see how things shake out there. Your corners and your safeties, really just look at the top, and that's where things are set. Who else they keep? I don't know. They brought in a lot of really good talent here to back up and to compete for those last spots. Jalen Johnson, Terrell Smith, Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard, Elijah Hicks, Jonathan Owens, Tyreek Stevenson, Zoff Frazier should all be safe. I would think those are your 8 that are safe. They should keep 1 or 2 more. And you brought in Alex Cook from the Giants, Major Burns, undrafted free agent, which is a very high-level undrafted free agent in my opinion. Nick McLeod, Sean White, Nashawn Wright. All these guys, Nashawn Wright. All of these guys have an opportunity here to compete for this roster. So I love what's happened with the Bears this offseason. And then final special teams, Cairo Santos, Jonathan Kim. Jonathan Kim, just so you guys know, did kick a career long of 58 yards. So a little farther than the range of Cairo, but Cairo is so extremely consistent at Soldier Field. Unless Jonathan Kim really kills it and just misses nothing all off season, I don't see how they cut Cairo. But It's always good to bring in more competition and see how things shake out, in my opinion. Torrey Taylor's safe. Scott Dowley, Luke Elkin, that'll be one to follow. I think Luke Elkin could take his job because of the connection with Torrey Taylor there. So that's your 90-man roster. Here's the upcoming schedule so you guys can see it. The draft is over with. Now, rookie minicamp will be announced this next week, whether it's May 2nd through the 5th or May 9th through the 12th. Teams get to choose which one of those two they do. Then the NFL schedule is released on the 14th, and then OTAs begin again on the 20th. So just a little under a month from now, about 3.5 weeks from now, you'll have OTA starting up. Then mandatory minicamp in June, OTA offseason workouts again the week after that, preseason rookie training camp mid-July, and then right after that, everybody shows up. So we'll have that gap between June and July, and then we're there. We're back. Football's back, baby. We're back in July. A little bit wild. So there's your Chicago Bears 90-man roster. It's all set. We're set, baby. We'll see if they make any cuts or additions. That could happen for sure. It could happen, but that's where we stand right now. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you for being a part of this entire offseason. It's been so much fun. I'll have videos coming up on each of these players, just like we did before the draft, highlighting players. I will highlight all of them. I'm going to take my time with it. I want to do a better job, and I'm honestly toast. I'm toast. I'm worn out. So I appreciate you guys. If you don't mind hitting the like button, please do so. If you don't mind subscribing, if you haven't done that, hit the notification bell. Till next time, da Bears and bear down.
Bear down, sports making Chicago proud.